Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda and this is the second part of my alert for you today. According to a brand new article in the Wall Street Journal, President Trump steps off the sidelines in the pandemic stimulus talks. So basically, as we know, the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has remained out of the fray while the White House lead negotiators, Stephen Mnuchin, the US Treasury Secretary, and the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, have actually been negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. So now the president seemingly is taking more and more of an active role because the negotiations have indeed hit a rough patch, and the president is pledging executive actions if no deal is reached by Congress. So here's what the president is doing. The president had initially dispatched the White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and the Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin to negotiate with the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. But the goal was to find a compromise, and there is no compromise yet. So after nearly 2 weeks of very modest progress, in fact I would go so far as to say the sides are not close together, they seem to be pretty far apart right now. Both sides have expressed a good deal of frustration. Here's what White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said. He said, at this point either we're going to get serious about negotiating and get an agreement in principle, or it becomes extremely doubtful that we'll be able to make a deal if it goes well beyond Friday. He said President Trump would take executive actions on unemployment benefits and the eviction moratorium if talks didn't advance. So again, almost 2 weeks have gone by. It's clear that both sides are getting frustrated. President Trump is trying to do something unilaterally. Again, it remains to be seen what he can do unilaterally. And on Wednesday, which is yesterday, Mark Meadows warned that President Trump was planning to, this is what he said, was planning to abandon talks with Congress and take actions on his own if Republicans couldn't reach a broad agreement with Democrats by the end of the week. And this is what Chuck Schumer said. He said that the White House should stay at the table. He said, we urge Mr. Meadows to sit down and continue to work with us to do it as long as it takes. By the way, I also reported this in a previous video that there's a difference in the negotiation strategies employed by Stephen Mnuchin, and Mark Meadows has a different negotiation strategy, and both are essentially adopting different strategies. And Chuck Schumer actually told Stephen Mnuchin that Mark Meadows, you should be able to be a good influence on Mark Meadows as opposed to Mark Meadows being an influence on you. That was a particularly telling sign in the difference in ideologies between the two White House lead negotiators as they interact with the Democrats. I have covered this in a different video. And Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said that leaving the negotiation to the White House and to the Democrats is going to be his preferred approach given the complexities of the talks and in his own words, the disagreements between GOP senators, because some GOP senators actually don't want any further stimulus at all. So it seems to be that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell basically is telling the White House, you work it out with the Democrats and then I'll support whatever may come. And Mitch McConnell has publicly estimated that at least 20 of his colleagues, of his Senate colleagues and Republican colleagues, may not support any new stimulus package. Yep. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me, but they don't support any new stimulus package. They are concerned about the impact on the economy. They're concerned about the fiscal impact of the economy. But at this rate, there may be no economy if more aid to people who need it the most does not happen. So whatever the amount, they would not support any stimulus amid concerns over mounting federal budget deficits. And this is what Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said on Fox News on Wednesday. He said, the only thing that gets an outcome is the Speaker and the President of the United States reaching an agreement. Again, the only thing that gets an outcome is the Speaker and the President of the United States reaching an agreement. And once they do that, and I'm quoting Mitch McConnell, and once they do that, I believe that the majority of my members will support it, but not every single one of them. I've been clear about that from the beginning. And the president is clearly losing patience, and he started to talk about unilateral actions. Now, we are not clear whether the president, number one, will actually do this, number two, can actually do this, because unemployment benefit extensions and the additional appropriation of funds for unemployment benefit extensions is an act of, that allocation of money is an act of Congress. In other words, the power of the purse comes from Congress. This is the constitutional structure of the United States of America. The president can't just snap his fingers and allocate money for unemployment benefits extensions. It's unclear how he'll do that. Maybe they'll find some provision of the law, of the constitutional law and order that allows this to happen. But at this point, at the point I'm recording this, it seems that the president, even though he's saying this, there were some reports on Jeff Stein's Twitter feed that this might be a negotiation tactic. This might be a way to take the leverage away from the Democrats and sort of seize power in this situation, because when it comes to deal making, essentially an individual who has more power and B, who can walk away from a deal, essentially has more leverage. And then the president is now trying to do both, saying, hey, I can use executive action, B, I'm going to stall the negotiations, or I'm going to walk away from the negotiations. So that is a demonstration of power in this negotiation again. And you guys have heard me talk about this. This shouldn't be about power, this shouldn't be about ego, this shouldn't be about proving one point to someone else. This is about helping and saving over 30 million American citizens, and this is about trying to do what should be done. So Nancy Pelosi has hosted the talks in her office, and both sides have made concessions, but there's been a lot of disagreement over the most contentious issues, including the extension of enhanced unemployment benefits, including school aid, food stamps, funding for state and local governments, and also the United States funding for the United States Postal Service. In fact, there was a heated discussion about funding for the United States Postal Service. So Democrats have said that the GOP does not take into consideration the magnitude of the crisis. They said, this is what Mr. Schumer said, while Republican leadership continues to sit on the sidelines, Democrats are in the room working hard. So that's what he said. And Mr. Meadows basically signaled Wednesday that he said, Pelosi's strategy of wearing you down to finally say I've had enough is not going to work with him. So you can see that the two sides are still quite far apart. Even at this stage of the game, they've been negotiating for over 2 weeks. And Mr. Meadows said, anybody who's covered Congress long enough knows that I typically will not concede as readily as some might. So it seems like there's a bit of a personality conflict here as well, with over 30 million individuals stuck in between. That's where we stand right now. And another article said acrimony spikes as Pelosi alleges White House GOP don't, and I quote, don't give a damn about unemployed during relief talks. And there is again a meeting set for Thursday evening, and that's where things stand right now. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said he accused Democrats of lying about the GOP's proposals and said he would be keeping the Senate in session. This is important. He said he would be keeping the Senate in session, and I quote, unless and until the Democrats demonstrate that they will never let an agreement materialize. Unless and until the Democrats demonstrate they will never let an agreement materialize. The Senate had been scheduled to adjourn for its annual summer recess next week. So, and again, Meadows did declare Wednesday that the two sides remained trillions of dollars apart, and he said we're still in need of a breakthrough moment. And I talked about Nancy Pelosi's interview earlier on my channel. When she was specifically asked about Republicans wanting to strike a deal, she said, perhaps you mistook them for someone who gives a damn. Her words, that's the problem. See, the thing is, they don't believe in governance. So that's where things stand right now. Pretty much a gridlock, if you will, not sounding very promising. And Trump did announce that he's going to look into executive action, like I mentioned earlier. And this is what Schumer said on the Senate floor. I'm going to wrap up with this. Schumer said the Democrats insisted that talks must continue until a deal is reached. So Schumer said on the Senate floor today, we are not going to give up. We are going to keep fighting until we achieve the caliber of legislation the American people during this time of great crisis need and deserve. We're going to keep working until we get done. So that's where things stand right now, everybody. The two sides are still arguing about money for schools and the Postal Service. Republicans have tried to link some of the school money to schools reopening, and the Democrats oppose this. There's dispute about pensions. There's multiple other issues that are involved, and the Democrats are pushing very hard to renew the $600 weekly enhanced unemployment benefit extensions that did actually expire last week. The administration at this moment in time has offered $400 a week through early December. There has been no talk of the administration agreeing to $600 a week at this moment in time, regardless of what thoughts might be floating around. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I wish I was reporting more positive news, but this is where we are at right now. I appreciate you watching. Please buckle up. It's going to get bumpy. Please be prepared. I hope you've saved as much as you can. If you haven't, try to find ways to get through the next few weeks, because I've mentioned this earlier, even if and when a bill is signed into law, and a bill will be signed into law, it will. But even if and when a bill is signed into law, it could take 2 or 3 weeks for the states to turn all the benefits back on again, and for that money to start flowing back to you and ending up in your bank account and giving you money to pay rent, to pay your utility bills, and to buy food. I can't even believe I'm talking about money to buy food for us here in the United States of America, but this is where we find ourselves. Thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time. If you learned something new from this video, please click the like button. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber already for instant breaking, fair and balanced news, because for me it's not about the left or the right. It's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white and blue. For me, I'm not Republican or Democrat. I'm American, as we all are. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you watching. If you want to get breaking news and alerts from us on your cell phone, get your cell phone out and send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time, because the name of our channel is Ignition Time. Send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000, that's 70000, and you'll get breaking news alerts from us, and you can opt out at any time. Again, if you learn something new, please click like below. Please click subscribe. Please enable notifications so you get instant updates. Thank you so much. This is my second important breaking news alert for you today. I did both those videos in one take, so I'm happy I was able to pull that off. I hope you got some new information, and I'm hoping I can smile and bring you good news in the future. Thank you so much. Buckle up, stay safe, and it's going to get a little bumpy. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.